Welcome to the second episode of the Trails of Transformation podcast. My guest today is Chris Brown, owner and founder of the Lifeways Wilderness Institute here in Durango, Colorado. An inspiring program with a beautiful vision of weaving together intentional nature immersion and mental health care. A program where healing, leadership development, connecting to oneself, others, and nature is facilitated by qualified guides leading from their hearts. Chris and I shared a powerful conversation where we discussed the importance of rites of passage and threshold experiences, how we're capable of doing really hard things, and how that empowers us to experience and know. We shared a prayer for elders' emergence in our communities, and how coming back to nature helps us remember that we are nature, and the power that has in helping facilitate healing, clarity, direction, and interconnectedness. That we're not alone, and humanity is inherently good. So say hi to others and connect. Form relationships and choose love over fear. I pray that these spoken words carry healing and loving vibrations into your hearts and lives. Enjoy this conversation. It feels very special, and you shared just a little bit about why you picked this location. Could you tell me first where we are?
Yeah.
And tell me what it means to you and why we're here.
Yeah, John, I mean, thanks so much for inviting me to have this conversation, and also the intentionality of having it be in a place that means something to me or the person that you're speaking with and dropping in with. And so we are at about 9392 down Echo Basin Road, which is a forest road just outside of Mancos. We're in the La Plata Mountains. And this area of the San Juan National Forest is where I recently got married on September 28th to my wife, Emily, just further down the road at a big meadow called Lucy Halls Park. And this is also sort of a threshold place for me in my guiding career and in my connection to this part of the world. And so, it's crazy to say, but for almost the last decade, this area of San Juan National Forest has kind of been my home, both personally and professionally, and has held me in so many different ways. And so it's sweet to be here with you today to kind of honor that and talk about it. And,
absolutely.
Honor the land in this way.
Yeah, man.
Show some love, during the darkest months of the year.
Yeah.
So, that's a little bit about Echo Basin and where we're at.
Cool. Well, it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you and to share this space, and really just I asked you for your time just because when we grabbed coffee and dropped in together, our first time meeting, I just was inspired by your vision and what you're doing in this world, in this community, in this region. And so I think we should start there in terms of just dive right in. And I kind of am curious for our listeners, could you share what your vision is at this moment, and what vision is most alive for you at this point in your life in terms of your intentions, your purpose, your dharma?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, that's a big question.
It is.
That's a big question, John.
Absolutely.
I think I'm struck by just the need in our moment here as a species, not just as a white man or, any of the identities that I hold, but just as a species, culturally, otherwise, particularly here in America, that we just need to spend time outside. We are nature. And I feel motivated as a small business owner and a licensed social worker and a therapist to bring, outdoor wilderness experiences, climbing experiences to people in both a therapeutic and a recreational context, and really reduce the barriers to accessing that level of care and support and opportunity. And so over the last 10 years, I've kind of been dreaming and motivated and passionate about the intersection of wilderness work, the outdoor industry, the mental health space, mindfulness, and education. And so that's kind of the triangle that has pushed me to create the Lifeways Wilderness Institute. And so I founded the Lifeways Wilderness Institute in around this time, actually in 2022. And we ran our first local cohort with La Plata County teens in the summer or the spring of 2023. And so we're going into our third kind of fourth year of business here in 2026. But the Lifeways mission is to provide recreational and therapeutic courses as a way to connect to self, connect to community, connect to the earth as a means to accelerate growth and transformation. I think I always want to be doing this work the rest of my life. I want to find a way to survive in our capitalist world, but also really live a life full of purpose and meaning and deep connection to place and people. And so, the Lifeways Institute is about that. It's about making wilderness moments both simple and profound and accessible and exciting. I just think our world really, because for myself, I've come to this realization that you can't love something unless you have a relationship with it. And that applies for our earth, for our people, for our communities, for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so, stepping out into the woods and stepping out onto the rock and stepping out into sort of the soul work that's connected to the wilderness world is how I say sort of my life or found meaning for myself. And so it feels like I'm a part of a bigger lineage, something way bigger than me, and starting the Lifeways Institute while also honoring my own path and just wanting to catalyze those experiences for others through this work.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It weaves so many crucial elements into this program and vision that's needed at this moment in time. I feel truly is deeply needed to connect again to each other, to land, to nature, to spirit, and making it accessible to the youth within the community and beyond. It's a very admirable mission, and I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Wow. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I'll be clear too, we started just serving local teens, and now we're sort of in this phase where we're really expanding our scope beyond just Durango. We're expanding our scope beyond just that 14 to 19-year-old niche. And so, I feel really excited about, serving more people, ages 12 and up, really serving family systems, running family intensives, running wilderness solos, running, custom guided courses for climbing and backpacking, and putting them all together so that, there is a way to tap into the Lifeways curriculum and programming where, if you have an interest and you're curious about, how to make a career out of this work, or you're curious about how to really deepen your own path or shift some maladaptive patterns and behaviors that don't serve you, I think we have programming for you. And I guess to make it really simple, the way that we shared over coffee at the Smiley, and how I talk about the Lifeways Institute more broadly, is that we have 4 spokes to our business model. And so that's outpatient clinical therapy, that's guided courses for all of our wilderness programming. And then the third is our climbing program, And you can do that recreationally. You can take clinics on trad, sport, improving your lead game, learning all the systems behind that discipline, while also seeing how that also impacts your social, emotional, and holistic health. And then the final spoke of our business is operating and holding trainings for staff or to-be staff or educators and guides in the industry to sort of see how developing therapeutic skills and group facilitation skills could just make you a better leader. And it's also internally how we want to evaluate our team and making sure that we're working with quality people who speak the same language.
Absolutely.
Hold similar spaces. And so, those are kind of the 4 points of entry and ways in which we can support you and your goals. It just feels right, man. It's like we want there to be this like arc to somebody's experience, right? Like you look at most teens and even young adults, there's really not an easy way for this to feel even palatable or worthwhile, or like, why me, or how do I get there? And so, I guess I was given so many mentors and people in my life who were like, you should try this. And here I am now in this position to be like, hey, I think you could try this.
Yeah.
It might help you. So that feels really special. It feels really, really beautiful to give back in that way and to be of service like that.
Yeah, absolutely. In starting Lifeways, it's been a few years now. As in working and doing this work, has there been an encounter, an experience, a relationship within the program that has really touched you, stuck with you, shaped you, or validated the work that you're doing?
Yeah. Oh, great question. Yeah. I mean, just being able to establish public and private partnerships with local nonprofits here in La Plata County to serve 14 to 19-year-olds absolutely at no cost to youth or families, and to see, these, there are like 10 students now who have come back from more than 1 year of work. And each one of them holds such a special place in my heart. And it's not to say that other students in that program haven't either, but I can just think of like, man, there's one quote that I remember from one of our students from this last summer where, he told me, he was like, I wouldn't be able to really dream. I wouldn't be able to really think outside myself and really lean into my potential if it weren't for the support of my Lifeways guides. And wow, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
Like that's huge. That's huge to know that you're helping someone locally, helping someone who's been through a lot of trauma and strife and struggle, to see that they can even taste just a little bit like what their potential is or where they want to go. And this student, we helped this young man find a job at a local mechanic shop, and he was working on diesel engines for school credit. And we helped him find more access to food and did some basic case management stuff for his family. And so, it's just really, those tangible moments where you can feel the impact is profound. And that's just one moment where this young man has had an impact on my life too. I could go on about students. It's been really, really, really magical to just, help folks like drop into their hearts, maybe even be in their body in a safe way, in a healthy way for, the first time, or maybe the first time in a long time, or remember their gifts for the first time in a long time. The wilderness works. I guess I just can't say that enough. It's like, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. I think like we have to give up control. We have to surrender. We have to learn how to find resilience in challenging times, or find connection with others when we have a hard time trusting. And yeah, there's just so many layers to being outside that I think are so healthy. Because it's us in our hearts and our bodies.
Yeah, we're not separate from it. No, not separate from it.
No.
And I think that's a big misconception that a lot of us in the Western world have. It's that we're separate from it. We're not part of it. And that taints the relationship, or at least creates a barrier with the relationship. And if we look at how our relationship in terms of extracting natural resources and the way in which we engage with the environment, and I think that speaks to kind of the mindset that especially those within power have operated. But that's a conversation for another time. But in terms of starting Lifeways, and it's a big vision.
Yes,
the aspiration is quite large. And I'm curious, as an entrepreneur, what's been the most surprising element or thing in embarking on creating something of this magnitude?
Yeah, I mean, the most helpful thing, or the most for me, it's just like there's still so much work to do, right? Like I think there's a real beauty in the fact that like I know very clearly that I'm not going to do this alone. It's impossible to do this alone. And the same thing that I tell my clients and my students and my families is, we have to learn how to ask for help when we need it. And I think in holding a vision like this, or trying to make it come to life, or, tend these coals and breathe them to life and build fire, it's like, you can't do it alone. And if this is just going to be, quote unquote, the Chris Brown show or whatever, it's like, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's not about me. It's like, I got to get myself out of my own way and be humble, ask for help, bring quality people onto our team, and really make things clear, right? Like really help people understand the why. And for me as a leader and an entrepreneur, also getting clear on my why, coming back to that time and time again when things are hard, or, there's website and emails and logistical things to tackle that I don't always want to do, but have to do, that there just needs to be that level of like patient humility and clarity, and like, it can happen, but it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen maybe even next year. It's just slow burn. And I truly believe that like any growth, that is sustainable can't happen quickly. Growth that happens too quickly is tyrannical, in my opinion. And so, I want to find that balance, and again, have good people on our team to hold me accountable and support the vision, while also having a huge say in how things take shape. And I just know that that's what it's going to take. It's like we need quality people on board and excited about the work. And for me, being able to let go and trust that everybody's here for the right reason. I think there's there's something that pings me at night or is in my heart often, where it's pretty clear to me that if I don't go for it, if I like really don't try my best and I don't, live in my heart to create something with the Lifeways Institute, that I'll regret that, and I'll live with some shame or some guilt. And that's a big motivator for me too. Just like, I know that I'm being called to this, and that I have the heart, and I have the mind. Yeah, I trust myself to ask for that help and lean in when it's appropriate, and stay resilient when I need to, and take my time.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love I think it speaks a lot about an element of the type of leadership that what you just chose to spoke to kind of highlights. And so we'll get to that in a second, because I'm curious about the leadership qualities that you've seen in your life. But you speak about this team and not doing it alone. Who has been would you say, your biggest ally in creating the Lifeways Institute? And can you speak to this relationship just a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, it's so many people. It's not, I wouldn't say it's just one ally, like it all started over coffee and a conversation with Dr. Jason St. Mary, who's the executive director of La Plata Youth Services. And, I was basically like, hey, if we build this program, if I can get the permits and I can get the LLC set up and do the insurance thing and blah, 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 put the legwork in, we can serve local teens. This is the public-private partnership that can manifest that. And so, Jason's been a huge support through and through every step of the way. And then, the fundamental guide team has been, myself, Brian Phelps, Dear Ponzi, and they've been with me since day one, 2023, that first summer. And, now it looks like collaborations with our lead clinician, Luke Flynn, our clinical supervisor, Morgan Seymour, Danny Frazier, who's been a huge help, just offering consultation and sort of just like kind of training me in some more of the business ways of the industry, and kind of giving me some nudges and pushes into some work. And then it's all of the, people who have, like yourself and others who've just reached out and have been like, whoa, this is really beautiful and inspiring. Like, can you talk to me about this? Or is there any way we can help? Or, just those moments are so rich and really lovely reminders about like, oh, this is working. This is touching people. Mm-hmm. This is in connection with community and the earth. Excuse me. And so, I can't say it's been, like one big ally. I mean, obviously La Plata Youth Services and Jason St. Mary, they've been our fiscal sponsor and helped us with, holding all of our grants and facilitating local scholarship money. But it's been a well-rounded team of people who just continue to show up and, dream alongside me and alongside each other. And, really grateful for that level of collaboration and, just the fortitude that it takes to be stepping out and taking these risks, right? Really putting yourself out there and saying yes. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. We're not selling trinkets. We're not selling the fancy widgets. We're not, it's not the bread and butter business model that you learn at your MBA program. It's like, this is a more complex thing while at the same time being really simple. Right? Like, I guess that's my best answer.
Yeah, man. No, and what really stuck out to me was when you spoke with there's a vibration of that comes from you doing it's coming from the heart. Mm-hmm. What you're building is coming from the heart. And it sounds like you've built a team that it's in that same pocket of vibration.
Yeah.
They all share that same heart frequency in terms of, and vision, but the heart frequency of the love and connection and that wholeness of it's bigger than myself. And the impact that we're trying to have is for this collective and for our connection with the earth and for something just greater. And a remembering and that it being rooted in heart, it's just genuine, it's authentic. And the big undertakings, those massive, albeit it's simple, but those massive visions and creative projects, they can be done and accomplished because they're rooted in heart, authenticity. And that's the only way, I feel like, to stay the course and stay the path on the long term.
Totally.
And to be patient and to build this thing, a solid foundation first, and then to scale from there.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and thanks. I mean, we're doing our best. It's not perfect. We've made some mistakes. We're not we're a small and mighty org. It's not this is a homegrown thing, right? This is not, we didn't get a bunch of venture capital money. We're not wheeling and dealing with big numbers, big figures, but we know what we're doing is, it is bigger than ourselves. And we've all been touched by that.
Yeah.
Like you can't make this stuff up, right? Like the way in which all of these people have come into my life, or even how I ended up in Durango from growing up in Maryland, is just like, it blows my mind every day. It's like, how did I get here? Like following the trail of breadcrumbs, asking good questions, it's like everybody who's a part of this has done some version of that for themselves, and therefore they're prepared to be their own leader.
Yeah.
And in an age where a lot of people in power and whatnot are, in my opinion, leading in a bad example, setting a bad example for what leadership looks like, it feels really encouraging. I think it gives me a lot of hope to know that there's just a huge cohort of beautiful human beings here in the Southwest who want to do this work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's basically like, if we can make this happen at the Lifeways Wilderness Institute, and we can provide jobs and opportunities for people to continue to do this for the rest of their lives, that sounds like a win-win to me, both for employees and clients and business partners. And so, I think it's just a matter of time before word starts to spread that there's something magical happening here in the Southwest.
Yeah.
That's way bigger than you or me. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can feel that. I can feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, it brought me here.
Yeah.
And it brought us together.
Totally.
There's something happening here, and it is magical. It's divine, and I'm excited to see it continue. And not only for my path, but for Lifeways and beyond. That ripple effect, it just it will extend outwards, and the implications of that are infinite. And so I think that's beautiful. And that, in terms of leadership, like circling back to that, we've talked about, just briefly, bad leadership.
Sure.
A lot of people, those in power, but who has been somebody within your life that comes to mind when you think about just excellent leadership? And can you tell me a little bit about what makes, in your eyes, what makes them a great leader?
Yeah.
And how this has influenced maybe the type of leader that you'd like to be within, this organization and just in life and in the community.
Yeah. I love that question. I mean, leadership is such a kind of catch-all phrase, but I think for me, it holds meaning, right? Like, if you're able to support others and help them feel at their best to do whatever it is they're tasked to do. That for me is like quality leadership. And that does not need to be this like power over paradigm. That can be in a line of collaboration. That can be through, deeper long-term mentorship. That can be through, co-creation. And so I think I don't want to pretend that I'm, an expert leader or anything like that. But I think I've just been impacted by the fact that those leaders in my life, like Evan Meyer, John Sweat, Ruby Jo Walker, Amy Bryant, like powerful people who hold their capacity with so much grace, right? And can come across with clarity and precision and honest, authentic direction without being condescending is a gift, and all of those folks that I've mentioned really, inspire me to have good boundaries and to not overextend, to slow down when I need to really get to know the people that I'm working with, understand what motivates them, what gets them up in the morning, like what is their why? And then where are our points of relation? Like where can we just be human beings together where there isn't that power dynamic? And I think, being in, this intersection of mental health and wilderness work and mindfulness work and whatnot, it requires you to practice what you teach and preach all the time. And so
congruence.
Yeah, exactly. There's a level of that I ask of myself and I ask of other leaders. I'm not going to tell a student to do something that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to tell an employee to do something that I wouldn't do. Or I'm not going to tell a business partner to do something that I wouldn't do. It's like across the board, it's not, there has to be some level of reciprocity. There has to be some level of congruence. And the second that I feel like I'm coming from this place of being better than somebody, I know that I'm an ineffective leader. And, I think the lineage that, at Open Sky, that guiding space and philosophy and the mentorship that was embedded into that program, particularly with the folks that I mentioned, Evan Meyer, John Sweat, I'll even throw Betsy O'Neill in there. And, there's so many people, like I could list, 5, 10 senior guides or assistant field directors and field managers that, impacted my life because they showed up at that level of congruence. They held good boundaries. They were clear in their heart, and they really had the space to be with you, not above you.
Yeah. You spoke when we met for coffee. Mm-hmm. You spoke about really honoring the lineage of guiding.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I'm curious to hear you share some of that for our listeners. Just shed light on the importance. Like, what does that lineage look like to you? And why is it important for us to honor that lineage and breathe life, continue to breathe life, keep that flame going within that lineage?
Yeah. I appreciate you coming back to that thread. I'm struck by that too. I mean, I'm so humbled to be listening to what that lineage really is, because, sometimes it feels so ancient. Like it feels so ancient, and perhaps it is, but the direct lineage that I had spoken to you about when we were at Smiley Building was that, so for listeners to know, I was a senior guide, field manager at Open Sky Wilderness Therapy from 2018 to 2022. And a huge part of that model is obviously, passing down these skills from bow drilling to shelter making to basic tracking to just plant, animal ID, all of those things that are ancient. I mean, those skills are ancient, period. Mm-hmm. So teaching them, even in 2025, is connected to that lineage that goes way beyond, again, the Lifeways Wilderness Institute, Open Sky, Aspen Achievement, you name any wilderness therapy company in the last 50 years, those skills are way, way bigger than that, right? So that's one angle to take. And then the other angle to take is just the fact that, while we live in a capitalist world, the transactional relationship between guide and student or client, for the sake of healing, has been happening outdoors for, on paper, the last 60 years. And so you're connected to a variety of companies that have been doing that. And while we're not a wilderness therapy company, we are holding a lot of those heart skills, right? Mm-hmm. We are creating these threshold experiences for students, families, young people, adults to tap into. And that feels just as important, and in some ways just as ancient, right? Like, again, while I wouldn't brand ourselves or say that we're specifically a rite of passage company, a lot of our experiences can be those threshold experiences for people. And so it depends on which angle you want to take, right? Because depending on your ancestry or depending on your own bloodline and lineage, right? Like you could probably do some research into your past, into your people, and find some rite of passage experience that was passed down for young men or young women or whomever, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're certainly calling that in, right? We are calling to our clients to say, like, hey, take a risk and try this. Try and do maybe vacation differently, or try and do rock climbing differently, or try and do the mentorship or therapy thing differently, and bringing in the land and bringing in those hard skills, bringing in the heart skills, right? And so that's the lineage that we spoke about. And again, it's like we at the Lifeways team, we wouldn't be in a place to teach these things if we didn't have people to teach who had taught us those things, right? And so again, we're just a vehicle for possibility, for experience, for deepening levels of growth and transformation. And so that guiding lineage, that therapeutic lineage, that wilderness skill lineage is massive.
Yeah.
And it's hugely important to honor that, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was well said.
Yeah. Thanks.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
I'm glad that you mentioned rites of passage. Mm-hmm. And that was definitely an area I wanted to kind of cover with you. Can you speak to the importance of a rites of passage, especially in today's society? Mm-hmm. And after we touch on that, can you speak to, have you experienced your own rite of passage and shed a little light on what that might have looked like for you?
Yeah. And I'll caveat all of this by saying, like, I understand that, I'm a white cisgendered man who does not have a direct connection to my ancestry's rite of passage. So I can't speak from that place, and I just want to honor that. But for me, I think, as I understand it, I'll opine and say that, like, the rite of passage experience is about transitioning into adulthood, like really thoroughly knowing that you're an adult now. You have responsibilities, you have commitments, and you have this experience to look back on and say, I did this. I had these stories, I had these conversations, I have these experiences, and then now I remember those things.
Yeah.
They carry me forward. And so for us, that could look like a threshold experience, right? For some people, that could be getting married. For some people, that could be going off to college, right? I mean, this could look, in our modern times, it is not demarcated in any official way because culture is so amorphous and slippery.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to put anyone in a box, right? If there's a moment for you that feels transformative and like you've really crossed the threshold and you've made some commitments to yourself, I'd argue that could be a rite of passage experience. If it happens outside and there's a deeper connection to land and place and people, all the better. But I think that has to be curated in a really careful way, especially if you're taking that on for yourself or you're working with another organization. Just like being really clear with your intentions there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, recognizing that a lot of the land we walk here in the U.S. is not our own land. And while I feel empowered to help sort of like rekindle those connections for folks and for myself, I definitely don't want to claim that like what we're doing is better than or taking away from, you know, Indigenous people's rites of passage experiences or, you know, appropriating them in a form or fashion. So that's, I mean, there's a level of sensitivity that I have with that.
Absolutely.
That I hold in my heart. Yeah. Like I hold that in my heart. I don't want to cheapen any of those experiences, I guess is my point, and nor do I want to take them.
Yeah.
And I'll say too that for me, I mean, my rite of passage of sorts was leaving the States. I lived and worked in South America. I had the privilege of taking that risk and living out of my backpack for 2.5, nearly 3 years. And I found guiding through a small nature conservancy ranch in central Patagonia called Patagonia Frontiers. I started down there as a volunteer. I wasn't making any money, but I was learning a lot, learning about myself, learning about the earth, learning about like what makes me tick. Like after college, I was a mess. I just quit baseball. That was like the cornerstone to my life for, 18, 16 years or whatever. Played in college, all the things right on that front, and really stripping everything down to a backpack for me, and then learning how to guide, learning how to operate rope systems and traverse and manage risk over the land, and getting onto the glaciers and climbing to high peaks and slowing down and living simply and harvesting your own food and growing your own food and, drinking from streams without filtering the water. I mean, just like levels of threshold experiences that have deeply impacted me. And John Hoff, another leader in my life that's impacted my path, was a big part of trusting me and having me come back and be one of their first international employees my second year. And so that whole time down there, basically guiding summer season to summer season between the hemispheres, is a definite sort of like rite of passage threshold experience for myself.
Yeah.
I would not be here. I would not be in Durango. I would not be in the state of Colorado if I had not taken that risk right out of undergrad to, jump across the oceans and say yes to a foreign place, a foreign opportunity at the time. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I think it's honorable to mention the context of, the rites of passage and the level of reverence and intentionality in terms of these threshold experiences. I like that term a lot. Threshold experiences. And although they can be ceremonialized, I feel like oftentimes we embark on our own like meandering, self-prescribed rites of passage, if you will, which can oftentimes be a painful time period for a lot of people. And I know that was my experience as well.
Yeah.
A lot of confusion and substances and things that are of an element to this self-prescribed threshold experiences that kind of come together in this conglomeration of a self-prescribed rite of passage, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us in society today, especially here in the West, more often than not experience that instead of having an intentional with support and guides and community and elders, and one is more easeful.
Sure.
And potentially more potent,
perhaps, maybe,
especially if it's led from the heart, as opposed to a more painful kind of going through the dark kind of situation, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll push back a little bit and say, some rite of passage experiences, some ancient ones, young people would die.
Yeah, that's very true.
The young people wouldn't come back, right?
Yeah.
And so I definitely am an advocate for helping folks learn how to be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
for sure. And
it's an element of seeing what we're capable of. And sometimes it pushes people to that brink of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see that people in 2025 are willing to say yes to that.
Yeah.
And that's what inspires me to keep this thing alive, right? To keep the Lifeways program moving and growing and shaping and shifting, because people want this work.
Yeah.
People want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
People want to find their hearts. People want to connect to something deeper and bigger than themselves. And, it doesn't need to be a religious thing. That doesn't need to be necessarily a rite of passage experience, but it can be impactful. Yeah. I pray for a day. I pray for a day in the US where we do have elders. We do have people who can hold this and have held it for themselves for 80 years, right? And that is embedded into culture again, because right now, largely speaking, most communities in the US do not have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And may that change. May that change.
I'm going to let that sit for a sec.
Yeah.
And I'm going to also grab a coat because I'm freezing.
You're chilly, buddy.
Did not properly pack for this situation. All right, so something that we touched on where it was elders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
An area that I'm deeply passionate about.
Yeah.
Locating the elders within community.
Mm-hmm.
And I know based off of culture that looks differently, what an elder entails. And but has there been an elder that has been deeply impactful in your life that you've had the privilege of cultivating a relationship with?
Yeah. I mean, there are certainly people who I would consider elders that have been a part of my life. Chris Moeller, Don Ricardo, Marie Luna, Matthew Moon, Ruby Joe Walker. Yeah, people from across sort of the spectrum of like healer, therapist, wilderness masters, I would say, at least within this Western context that we've been talking about. And I mean, for many of them, we're still in active relationship or active conversation. And I think there's a lot of beauty to that. And I think for me, I'm on my own path too, right? Like I will never say that I have all the answers, or that even the elders that I sit with or spend time with have all the answers. What I appreciate about sort of tapping into their heart and listening to some of their guidance, or just spending time with them, walking the land or having conversation, is that they let the mystery kind of be the mystery.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that sometimes, like I I do get off on control, right? Like I do try to control outcomes. I do try and be strategic or answer questions or do the research or, blah, blah, blah. And so I think the elders in my life have been helpful in just recognizing that humility, patience, and not knowing is just as important as trying to know. And I hope to continue to tend to those relationships and continue to honor them and give back to them and show up for them, because they've profoundly impacted my life. And there's plenty more I could say on that. But yeah, not sure where to leave it. Yeah.
No, that's great. Kind of want to pivot a little bit.
Sure.
I'm curious what Chris as a child was like.
Yeah.
Tell me about Chris as a child and what
Totally.
parts of him are still alive within you today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that question. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, my parents will say the same thing. I was outside all the time, and that is still very near and dear to my heart, obviously. Whether that was playing sports or growing up in, the suburbs outside of Washington, D.C., finding snapping turtles in the creek or hiking around the reservoirs in my neighborhood where I grew up, or, going on long runs with my friends, or, learning how to like track and follow deer through the woods or find a new trail, or jump into the leaves after a fall day of raking with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Those are moments that I still carry with me for sure. I was big on building forts as a toddler. I loved building. There's a memory of me sort of like trying to build this fort underneath the deck at my parents' first house along that creek that I was talking about, and just like inviting my friends over into my fort or like traveling through the bamboo forest in our friend's backyard to get there. And I remember myself as like a playful, smiley kid who wanted to get outside. And I had a buddy of mine, even at my wedding, just share with me, and he's known me since I was 7 and 8 years old, just share with me that, I was also kind of like a leader even when I was a young kid, and not always like choosing those roles for myself, but like somehow I ended up in them.
Yeah.
And he reflected that to me, and I'd say that's still with me too.
Yeah.
I think at this stage, I am actively choosing them a little bit more carefully, but I don't know, just recognizing that with humility and gratitude, that a lot of people trust me. And I think that was the case even when I was young. Yeah.
And I trust you too. And I want to say, I'll speak to that a little bit just because it feels like I can just feel your heart, and that's what I admire most about people.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the qualities that I look for in my friendships.
Yeah.
In the people in my life and the people who I want in my circle. It's the people who there's a level of clarity. They're clear.
Yeah.
Their energy field is clear because they're living from the heart. And there's the congruence that you can feel. And there's a level of truth to that. And I just appreciate that. Yeah. And I think that conjures safety, security, and trust. Mm-hmm. And so as a leader of an organization such as Lifeways, like, and what your mission is, like, there couldn't be a better person at the head of the home, So
Thanks.
hearing you speak about your childhood brought a lot of joy, to me, just because I relate, and
Yeah.
to feel like that thread is still very much alive within yourself. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
So I just want to reflect that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, man.
Cheers. Yeah. It's cool you feel that too. I feel like anytime we can really focus on those levels of just remembering where we come from and who we were, who we are, who we still want to tap into. I mean, there's so much about our inner child that I think it's just worth honing in on.
Absolutely.
if our goal is to live from our heart.
Yeah.
And trying our best to conjure those memories, be in that place is super important. I mean, it's a big reason why I love climbing and love being outside still to this day. It's like I get to be a little boy. And it's not in this like immature, forget all my responsibilities kind of thing. It's more of like I can dose those moments for myself and it can be really impactful. Right?
Absolutely.
So, not take yourself too seriously and also just like, choose love over fear. Yeah.
That's potent. Because, to me, it feels like that's what it boils down to. That's it. There's love or fear. And we have a choice to embrace which side we want to pendulate to, within our lives, within every decision, within our thoughts that come into our mind. Which wolf are we choosing to feed? Is it of love or is it of fear? And so, and I also love how we kind of like it wove in, just there was woven in within what we just peeled back about your childhood, your inner child, and its correlation to living from the heart and being authentic. Like it's an important component in. They're not they're inseparable.
Yes.
They go hand in hand.
Yes.
And I think I had just kind of this like, it's sink in just how important that inner child component and remembering and embracing and embodying even in the midst of all of this responsibility.
Yeah.
That it is.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Well said, John. I think that's the balance I'm going for. Right. And it's not perfect. We all have our moments. My wife, Emily, gives me crap all the time about like, you're being too serious, loosen up. It's like, come back to you. And that's why I love her. One of the main reasons is like, she can hold me to that. I have plenty of people in my life who will tell me like, hey, you're going to that, serious, like, big brother place, condescending place, stop doing it. And I mean, that's what I need to continue on my path too. And
people holding you accountable.
Yeah, and staying open to their feedback and their love. And also really tending to the child in me that needs to know that they are enough, right? And tending to little Chris in those moments of like, you are enough. It's going to be okay. Things are hard right now, but it's going to be okay.
It sounds to me, and I don't correct me if I'm wrong because I don't want to assume, but from what I've extracted for listening to you, it seems as if you're very much like on the path of weaving in passion and purpose together. And I think a lot of listeners and just people in general in life today, especially like today in 2025, people are starting to ask themselves a little bit more and shine a light on what they're choosing to do in their lives.
Yeah.
And if they're feeding the passions in their life.
Yeah.
Or even identifying and being able to relate and connect with those things.
Right.
And so for those listeners, for those people who might be struggling with connecting with passion and purpose, weaving them together, what would you recommend to them, or what would you speak to, almost as if they were, you know, your son or daughter?
Yeah.
Like, what would you advise?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. The first thing that comes to my mind, just tapping into my own heart, is like, slow down.
Yeah.
If you want to ask those big questions, you have to give yourself time. You just do. And that's going to look different for everybody. And maybe that means you slow down outside. Maybe that is the answer. Obviously, I'm biased. I believe that's a big part of it. I think that coming back to your own nature in nature is huge and immensely supportive. And then obviously looking for people who you resonate with, and whatever passion space feels right to you.
Yeah.
There are people out there doing the thing that you want to do, period.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, from basketball to, you know, weaving, crochet. Like, there are people doing the thing you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is amazing, which is an amazing and sometimes daunting part of our world in 2025, is it just can be so overstimulating. And so I think if you don't find that space or place, or you don't feel capable of slowing down, asking for help, looking to professionals who can help you do that inward work. Because I do think what you highlighted is like, I think a lot of people have a hard time sitting with themselves long enough to identify or recognize like what it is that makes them tick.
Yeah.
I think that is a very difficult thing to do.
Absolutely.
That means you have to be uncomfortable with the shit that comes up along the way.
Yeah.
Right? To peel back the layers, to like get across the superficial things that are holding you back. And again, I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I'm just saying that I'm listening to something that's in my heart, and I'm going for it. I'm trying my best, and I'm going to do the thing until I fail. And if I fail, I might get up and try again.
Yeah.
Because I know that it works and it's impacted my life. I hope that if you're listening to this, it's like, know that it's possible, that we're all on this learning curve together.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you're 18 or 70, you know, if you're still living and your heart's still beating, you can ask these questions. And I hope that you feel empowered to slow down and do that. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great answer, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. Kind of wrapping up, and I do want to, just because nature is such an important component in your life and has played a role since you were a child.
Yeah.
What has been your fondest memory of being in nature? Like, what experience stands out in your mind or comes right to your heart, where it's just like, man, this experience or this place or this story has stuck with me? And
oh man.
The tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll share vulnerably that I was in a really dark place after quitting the Emory baseball team, which I was recruited to play for in college, played for 2 years. And it was the fall semester of my junior year that I was told that, you know, I couldn't do a double major and play for the Emory baseball team. And I also wasn't playing well, and I was playing angry, and I was abusing substances. I was just in a mess. Mm-hmm. I had an existential crisis. I was in a dark place. And I had a really hard time and quit the baseball team that year as a result. And so that next spring, after taking this semester, that junior year semester, that fall semester, taking a whole semester's worth of just on Plato's Republic, that book single-handedly changed my life, and my relationship with Professor Judd Owen was a huge part of me going back outside after being an Eagle Scout and growing up in the outdoors and all those things. But it was that next spring break that I took a trip with my friend Tommy and Ellie to the Smoky Mountains. And our spring break coincided with the first week that the park opened.
Oh, wow.
That year, which was, you know, March 1 or whatever. And if you know anything about the Smoky Mountains, you know that they're pretty, high up ridgeline on the East Coast, and it was cold and wet and snowy and icy. And, we had ambitions of doing the 78-mile section of the Appalachian Trail that runs through the Smokies, in whatever it was, like 5 days, something pretty heads up for the time. This was like my first real backpacking trip as an adult with a friend who'd never done anything like this himself either, right? And we drove his old 85 Volvo out there on spring break and decided to go for it. And we got caught in this huge storm. We were basically walking on ice, didn't have any crampons. I was in probably like a pair of tennis shoes. Our backpacks were too small, so we just had a bunch of like Christmas tree packs, just stuff dangling from our straps. And, it was a mess, right? It was a mess. Yeah. But here we were, like, choosing to continue and figuring it out. And we eventually knew that we needed to ask for help. And we hitchhiked our way to Gatlinburg in the middle of the storm and got off the mountain and got a motel room for the night and ate a box of pizza. Like, these memories just come to me as I'm talking to you because it was so impactful. Like, you can do these things. You can take these risks. You can get into a tough situation and be okay. Mm-hmm. And you're going to learn from that. And from then on, I would say, I was probably 19, 20 at the time. Yeah, I was like probably 19. And I think that one trip just lit a fire in my belly of like, whoa, we as a species, as a human being, as an individual, I need to do these things more often. Yeah. And that has been the case. I'm 33 now and making a life around it. And I could list a million others, even getting married up here at the top of the hill, that's an impactful outdoor experience, right? Like, so I don't know, the list can go on, but that for me was a clear inflection point in my life. Like, nope, keep doing this. Yeah. Follow these breadcrumbs, listen deeply, and trust, right?
Beautiful.
So, yeah. Ooh. Ooh. It's a little messy, but it sticks with you. The type 2 fun or whatever.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm very familiar with that, man. But yeah. I wish our listeners could see this sunset, because this is
insane right now. So
pretty magical.
Pretty magical, yeah.
Freezing up here, but
it's cold. It's definitely chilly. Yeah.
But loving it. Yeah. Loving it, man. I think I would love to wrap with this question comes to mind in terms of what piece of wisdom would you leave our listeners with, like, to wrap, that has kind of been shaped throughout your life, that maybe is stuck with you throughout your life, as a thread or a theme that's just been consistent and maybe uniquely yours, maybe not like this completely new piece of wisdom, but a piece of wisdom that's been like pressurized and shaped throughout your life.
Yeah.
That comes to mind.
I love that. Yeah. I don't know if it's wisdom, but I think for me, it's like, if you're going to believe in humanity, you better say hello. Like, you better say hi to people. You better make connections. Like, people are genuinely good. Yeah. And I believe that you all out there, listeners out there, are genuinely good. And regardless of what the media may tell you or what's in the news, it's like, say hi. Deepen connections that nourish you. And yeah, I hope you just show that love to yourself as much as you show it to others. So, love over fear, I guess, is really that's all. The kernel of it.
There's the crux of it right there.
Yeah. Yeah, trying our best to do that every day. Yeah, enjoying the struggle when it's harder to do it. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Well, I appreciate this conversation so much. It's been a lot of fun. And I got to know a lot more about you.
Yeah.
And I like you. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, wow, you're so cool. So,
you too, John.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
It's been
for the
a real
invite.
pleasure. Thanks for sharing your heart and doing the things that you're doing in the community and having that ripple effect on the world. I'm excited to see this grow, and I can't wait, in 10 years to see where Lifeways is and the impact that it's made. And I doubt this will be our last time having a conversation, and I hope we can circle back and do this again in a few years and
totally,
see where we're at.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Hug out, man.
Hug out.
In
the cold.
Yeah. Oh.
Practice what you preach.
Ooh.
Suppose. Oh, it's so pretty though. My gosh.